Hello, welcome to Chapter 7. This chapter is all about circles. So first we need to get acquainted with basic language in circles. A circle is a set of all points in a plane at a given distance from that point. For instance, if I take a point, let's call this point O, and I find every point that's 3 centimeters away. I could measure 3 centimeters out this way, 3 centimeters out this way, and so on, all the way around. And the shape that would result from all of these points would be a circle. Now a radius is a segment from a point on a circle or a sphere to the center of that object. Now on the diagram below, OP is a radius. The plural of radius is radii. So if I have multiple of these things that we call a radius, if we have multiple of them, we call them radii. Now the center of a circle is usually marked with an O, but really you could mark it with anything. And it looks a little bit weird, but we would say circle O or circle X, or we write a little circle in front of it, meaning circle. Just like when we wrote angle P, we would write a little angle in front, meaning angle P. Here we just draw a little circle. Makes sense. Congruent circles are circles that have the same radius. And concentric circles are circles with the same center. Now remember, con means same, so concentric, same circles. So examples of concentric circles might be a dartboard, the target symbol, really any target for like shooting practice or bow hunting or something. Now an arc of a circle are 2 points on the circle and the continuous part of the circle between those 2 points. For instance, if I had a circle, if I have point A and B, the arc will be this continuous part of the circle between A and B, that blue section. Now a semicircle is an arc that just makes up exactly half of that circle. So that would be 180 degrees of the circle, half of it. A minor arc is an arc that's smaller than a semicircle. So those would always be less than 180 degrees, where a major arc is larger than a semicircle, so always greater than 180 degrees. Now, as we are naming our arcs, if I had this situation here, a minor arc, AB, starts at A and goes to B. That's less than 180 degrees. A semicircle BAC starts at B, goes past A, and keeps going until we get to C. Notice that there are 3 letters because we can either go this way around or we could do the bottom. So you need to denote a semicircle with 3 letters so we know which section we're talking about. Now finally we have a major arc ACB. That means we're starting at A, we're going around the circle, passing through C, and coming back around to B. Notice that the major arc has 3 letters, showing that it goes through C before it gets back to B. And notice that it's more than half of the way around your circle. All right, a couple more terms. A chord is a line segment whose endpoints lie on the circle, and a diameter is a chord that passes through the center of a circle. So here's a picture. Chord is here, and diameter is here. Now, a diameter always has to be the largest chord of any circle. So if you ever doing math and your chord is a 7 and your diameter is a 5, you might have to check your work because your largest chord is always the diameter. A couple more lines. The secant is a line that contains a chord. By line, it means it continues all the way to the right and all the way to the left. A tangent is a line that lies in the plane of a circle and that intersects the circle at exactly 1 point. So if you look at this tangent down here, it goes and it just touches the circle and it hits it at just this 1 point. And that point is called the point of tangency. So I'll draw a little arrow to that point. The point of tangency is the point that the tangent line intersects with the circle. So that little point right there we'll call the point of tangency. All right, Now, if we're looking at angles, there's two types of angles, central and inscribed angle. An inscribed angle is an angle whose vertex lies on the circle and whose sides contain the chord of the circle. So inscribed angle, two chords meet to form an angle. A central angle is an angle whose vertex is in the center of the circle and whose sides contain radii. So here's a central angle. Notice how CB and AB are both radii. All right, so we're just going to buzz through some of these real quick. This describes a secant. This one, it just touches at one point, so that is going to be a tangent. This does not continue forever, so that will be a chord. This is also a segment, so that, and it's just half the distance, so that would be a radius. These have circles that seem to have that same center, so we'll call them concentric circles. AB, since it has two letters, we know that this arc has to be a minor arc. ACB, start at A, pass C, and get back to B. That's a big arc, so that's going to be a major arc. All right, hopefully that's enough to get you through 1 through 3. Good luck.